Were these people just natural-born scammers? Let's get right to it and start with number 5, the Brazilian DoorDash. A woman from Brazil took her business to a whole other level when she became a star provider of illegal substances. Using small motorcycles and elaborate WhatsApp groups, Sue Ellen Miguez would do her business all around the UK. Miguez would live out of 3 different short-rent Airbnbs for a few days so police wouldn't catch her, with her longtime boyfriend who would execute the operation. The couple was considered by many to be a modern Bonnie and Clyde, except they're roughly 50% scummier. The couple had created a custom phone service with multiple moped drivers who would deliver the goods, who were dubbed the Asphalt Angels for some reason. The business menu included a wide array of illegal substances, from nose beers to various types of pills. The delivery men would disguise themselves as DHL drivers and make sure to deliver the goods within 10 minutes. Their lucrative business allowed them to have a grand lifestyle that included spending thousands of dollars in designer fashions. The couple spent close to $60,000 in brands like Prada and Louis Vuitton. Part of their lavish lifestyle was spent in a $13,000 a month mansion located in Surrey, a few miles south of London. The 7-bedroom estate boasted a private gym, swimming pool, spa facilities, and their own security for privacy. Added to this, they had a central London apartment with views of the River Thames. They would drive around in their orange Lamborghini and do shopping sprees in Harrods, an ultra-exclusive department store in the British capital. Everything seemed to be working smoothly, until one day police caught one of their delivery drivers in the middle of a regular day of work. After receiving an intelligence report detailing a local phone line, police were able to make an arrest. Police were able to withdraw more than $3 million worth of illegal substances, several cell phones, and more than $2.5 million evidence of illegal transactions. The operation also uncovered multiple packages of other illegal substances, including some of the largest amounts ever found in the UK that were stored away in storage lockers in 4 different locations across London. In a local hotel, they had a number of fake IDs and around $50,000 in cash. Miguez and her partner Diego de Souza ran their business operation as one of the most organized schemes there has ever been. They handed out a 10-page manual in which they meticulously detailed a code of conduct for all collaborators and payment increases based on their performance. As any large company, they expected to be number 1 among their rivals, with the obligation of making deliveries exactly within 10 minutes of any request, just as it was written in their business manual. Delivery drivers were requested to be polite at all times and have adequate posture. Miguez would oversee all operations, while all other workers would rent out the spaces where they stored the contraband, and others would organize the drivers. The operation was able to become highly successful because of the smart use of technology and the organized level in which they operated. Attention to detail was a must. After a detailed investigation and judging process by British authorities, the couple was sentenced to spend 13 years in prison each. Maybe they can pivot to just DoorDash. Number 4. Nailed it. Famous South African reality TV star Mel Viljoen and her husband Pete were under fire for the way they managed their business license. The couple, owners of Tammy Taylor Nails' South African branch, have been accused of mislabeling their products as made in the USA when in fact they aren't. According to an episode of the South African television investigation show Carte Blanche, the natives of the city of Pretoria lost the license to represent the Tammy Taylor brand in the country, but didn't stop selling the products. And an in-depth investigation noted how the products were labeled by a local South African printing company. It was safe to assume their products were fake. As if that weren't enough, this wasn't the first time the company had been the focus of the investigation show. Tammy Taylor, being one of the most famous nail polish brands in the international market, rescinded their trademark rights from the company owned by Mel and Pete Viljoen. But this was just the tip of the iceberg. Twitter, as usual, wasn't having it. Twitter's moody. Multiple users went on the social media platform to denounced the couple. Most of them stated how they care about their company being investigated and them being a part of the Real Housewives franchise at the same time. Other users stated they were scammers and pretty much criminals. The TV show had a series of interviews that included former business associates and buyers that had dealt with the Villajoans' shady business ways face to face. One of them had reportedly bought one of the Tammy Taylor stores they managed in Menlyn, a shopping center in Pretoria. The woman stated it was pretty clear the financial situation of the company was strange. The unnamed woman said that Tammy Taylor head offices never handed her access to their bank account where all the money was going to be deposited. So, for 6 weeks, every single earning the store had was never in her reach. But by contract, she was expected to pay all the expenses herself from the date the contract stipulated. Added to this, because of contract dates, the Villajoans handed her a demand for almost $28,000 for rent for the months of delay. The Villajoans weren't going to stay quiet. An online media outlet interviewed them, and Pete had a lot to say. They were allegedly going to sue Carte Blanche for a sum close to $110,000 for defamation of character. However, some leaked voicemails from Pete state how their business scam worked. They would hand their potential client agreements, which included a no refund clause they themselves said was for dumb people. Number 3. The fake concert. 2 women were said to organize a benefit concert for Sandy Hook Promise, a charity founded by family members of the 2012 shooting. Jean and Carissa Scott presented themselves as booking agents for an event that would feature stars like Bruno and Justin Timberlake. For the show, which was slated to happen in San Antonio, Texas, the women had already managed to score a couple of investors. They told the investors that in order to book both Timberlake and Mars, they would need a combined $1.4 million. As in addition, they would be able to get artists like Lady Gaga, Usher, and Drake. A few weeks later, they received $100,000 from an investor aiming to secure Timberlake's presence in the event. After a while, the investor was worried he hadn't heard anything from Timberlake on social media. He then received a call from a person pretending to be Timberlake's manager, saying the singer was booked to the gig, but he was now requesting a $200,000 increase on his fees. As it turns out, the 2 women never even contacted Timberlake or his team. Instead, they did what anyone would do when raising charity funds for the victims of one of the worst shootings ever. They decided to go on an all-inclusive shopping spree that included Saks Fifth Avenue, almost $9,000 in cash withdrawal, and a brand new Mercedes-Benz. Given the scope of the scam, the FBI was able to catch them in the midst of it. An agent, posing as a possible investor from New York, was approached by the women and pressured to put in a full deposit, citing that both Timberlake and Mars were worried the public were seeing this charity concert as some sort of joke. Is people thinking charity concerts are a joke a thing? They actually tried to float that. Soon after, both women were arrested at JFK Airport and charged with wire fraud. Authorities commented how sad it was that these women viewed a charity that was created to support the families of victims of a horrific event as a way to increase their pocket money. And although the women were bailed for $75,000, chances are they'll spend some time in jail pending their trial. Sweaty Alex Jones was probably really hoping these 2 would take some of the heat off of him. Number 2. Prison Boss. While in jail, a man in Nigeria saw an opportunity, and he made a lot of money with it. Hope Olusegun Aroke, who was serving a 24-year sentence at a maximum security prison in the African country, was able to create an elaborate scheme that included multiple collaborators and earned him a whopping $1 million. Aroke was also able to evade Nigerian authorities when he was ill with an undisclosed condition and taken to a hospital. Aroke escaped and went back to living his regular life. He moved to different hotels, saw his wife and kids, and even attended social events. Aroke seemingly had always had access to resources that weren't usually granted to inmates: internet and phones. With this, he created a complex internet scam system that saw no boundaries and scammed people across continents. Using a fake identity, he opened 2 separate bank accounts and, while in prison, bought a Lexus. Added to this, he had access to his wife's bank account PIN code, so he was able to freely transfer funds all over the place. Aroke was originally convicted in 2012 for internet fraud after he spent some time as a student in Malaysia. Aroke would tell his victims he was a computer science student at a university in Kuala Lumpur, but was in fact the head of a web of fraudsters who worked primarily online. He was sentenced to serve 12 years after being charged for wire fraud, check cloning, and forgery. Nigerian investigators were hesitant at first to disclose whether or not there were any involvement with prison authorities, but as expected, there was. At least 3 officials from Kirikiri prison, where Aroke was serving time, were arrested for a direct involvement in helping him run his in-house scam. They were linked with having helped him escape prison and roam around the city freely while still technically serving time. Aroke had allegedly received a referral letter from the man in charge of the prison's medical facility to go to a hospital and then escape. Before we get to number 1, if you love these stories, definitely stay on this video to watch our previous release about other depraved scammers, such as this lady who faked pregnancies and cancer just to keep her boyfriends around. Number 1, Africa's number 1 car dealer. Adesua Renee Ogiozi became a prominent businesswoman when she opened her own car dealership. The Nigerian native said her business came to be due to an unforeseen situation. Her cars were stolen while she was living in Dallas, Texas. The vehicle was later found, but the situation pushed her to establish her own company, Adesua Motors International. According to her, the company has become the number 1 car broker in all of Africa. Through her business endeavors, Adesua has obtained multiple awards, including the Nigerian Women Achievers Award, Business Entrepreneur of the Year 2018, Heritage Award Business Executive of the Year 2019, and many more. Her company has reportedly sold over 3,000 cars throughout Africa, with many celebrities and famous musicians being some of her top clients. But Adesua's success came with a price. After an investigation, the FBI charged Adesua for a fraud where the auto dealer allegedly stole millions of dollars. Added to this, she was charged for an alleged romance scam for the value of $560,000. She was first accused of conspiracy to commit fraud in 2020. In tandem with her business partner, Olateyu Ogunleya, a businessman from Atlanta, Adesua reportedly withheld $560,000 from a female client based in New York. According to FBI statements, Adesua had moved around $3 million in her American bank accounts. There was no clear indication to where the money was coming from. The investigation also showed that she had made over 1,000 false tax claims to the IRS. At first, investigators thought her fraud attempts were limited to a romance scam for only $12,000. But upon further research, they discovered Adesua's financial crimes were far deeper than they had initially thought. After her arrest warrant was issued, it took authorities a full year to locate and arrest Adesua, to which she simply stated she couldn't understand why it took so long for them to catch her. While Adesua was released on a $25,000 bond, her bank accounts were frozen pending the fraud's investigations. Her U.S. passport was withdrawn and her daily movements were limited to 3 hours a day. This added to the fact that her tax information was looked under close inspection, with the FBI discovering that in 2016, Adesua had declared her company's earnings to be only $872,000, with $862,000 being expenses alone. In 2019, her personal income was reported to be only $120,000, all of it being business expenses. Her public lavish lifestyle on social media didn't help either, where she had become a notorious Instagram star that flaunted her luxurious possessions and being the number 1 auto dealer in Africa. While she is still being prosecuted, Adesua faces up to 20 years in prison for wire fraud and conspiracy to commit wire fraud. She's probably got some good sales going on now, though. What's a worse scam? Making a COVID pesticide and making people feel secure, like what Paul Andricola did, or faking cancer with your significant other, like Rebecca Gray? Let's get right into it. Number 3, fake cancer. It started as a normal love story. Boy meets girl, boy falls in love with girl, boy notices the girl's mom calls all the time, girl's mom turns out to be her second boyfriend. In the beginning, Sean Fry thought nothing of all the phone calls his then girlfriend Rebecca Gray got from her mother. But as their relationship grew, Rebecca Gray's lies grew too. Ultimately, her web of deceit was too complicated for her to keep secret. The couple met on Tinder, and after a few dates, Rebecca Gray revealed that she had terminal cancer. Even though this was devastating news for Sean, he really liked Rebecca and they continued to date. As their relationship blossomed, Fry began supporting Gray through her cancer treatments, or so he thought. Gray made up elaborate stories about her symptoms, her organs failing, and even a blood transfusion. As Fry notes, he never thought twice as to whether Gray had cancer or not. She told him she had cancer, so why wouldn't he believe her? He could never imagine anybody would lie to him about something so grave. It turns out, Rebecca Gray didn't have cancer. To add insult to injury, when Fry thought Gray was in the hospital, she was actually dating 2 other men. This was one busy single mom. By December of 2016, Sean Fry was in love with Rebecca Gray. The couple traveled to meet Sean's parents for the holidays when Gray took her fraud to the next level and announced she was pregnant with Fry's child. For about a month, the happy couple planned for their baby's arrival. By this point, Sean Fry was fully committed. He was in love, he was about to be a father, and he was funding Gray's cancer treatments. Except Gray didn't have cancer, and she was not pregnant. In late January, after a month of baby planning, Gray told Fry she had lost the child. Sean was devastated, and so were his parents. The emotional manipulation was spiraling out of control, and soon, Gray's lies would spiral too. It turns out lying about cancer, a pregnancy, and a miscarriage weren't enough. Gray decided to layer her lies with multiple boyfriends. Unfortunately for Gray, her heartless ambition would be her downfall. To conceal her boyfriends from one another, Gray used fake names in her phone. Notably, one of Gray's unidentified victims was labeled Mum's Phone. He uncovered this secret while helping Gray find her phone one evening. When he saw that he was saved in Gray's phone as her mother, he suspected the worst and checked her messages. Her secret was out. He had uncovered Gray's tangled web of lies. This boyfriend found Sean Fry on Facebook, and they put everything together. Looking back, Fry remembers Gray's mom calling a lot. He now knows it was actually one of her many boyfriends. Love can be so blinding. Fry thought it was impossible for Gray to have any time for another man with all her hospital visits, and that's when the light bulb went off. Rebecca Gray wasn't sick. She didn't have cancer. She wasn't spending lots of time at the hospital. She was with her other lovers. It turns out, when Gray announced her fake miscarriage, she was actually away on a camping trip with another man. Man, that's so cruel. The 2 boyfriends got in touch with Gray's father, who confirmed she'd been lying about her terminal cancer for many years to multiple family members. It seems as though she had been crafting the perfect lie and using it on as many people as she could. Can it get any crazier? Yes, it can! After Sean and the unidentified boyfriend broke up with Rebecca Gray, she upped the ante. Neither Sean nor Gray's other boyfriend tried to get their money back, but Gray was unable to move on from her lies. She called the police and told them that Sean Fry was stalking her. The cops showed up at Sean's home, and when the police arrived, Sean revealed the entire fraud. He shared all of his messages as evidence, and the police immediately knew who was at fault. They eventually charged Rebecca Gray with fraud. Gray finally admitted to her web of lies in court and pleaded guilty to 3 fraud charges, including defrauding her boyfriends out of $11,000. Her relationship with Sean Fry lasted 18 months. 18 months of lies and scamming. Sean had to take an $8,000 loan out from his parents after giving thousands to Gray. Of course, the emotional toll is impossible to quantify. Rebecca Gray will be sentenced later this year. Number 2. Embezzling life. Elizabeth Mulder is a scammer from Orange County, California. She defrauded multiple businesswomen out of more than $1.5 million and spent their money on extravagant luxuries like horse rentals, valuable jewelry, plastic surgery, expensive vacations, and a rental home in Laguna Beach. Mulder used her lies to live an indulgent life in Southern California, and she did it by preying on women who owned their own businesses. Elizabeth Mulder set up a business called Mulder Financial Services. While posing as an accountant who graduated from Pepperdine University, it appears Mulder had only taken a few courses at a community college and was not a CPA. Mulder targeted women with small businesses and young children just like herself. She networked, invited entrepreneurial women to parties, and snuck her way into the lives of these business women. After connecting with her prey, Mulder ingratiated herself as a friend, a mother, and a business partner who would handle her victims' accounting and tax services. In some cases, Mulder convinced her clients to write checks to various entities that would settle debts and cover tax expenses. In reality, Mulder was pocketing these funds and using her victims' money on luxury goods. Mulder spread her fraud all across the OC, from San Juan Capistrano to Laguna Beach, San Clemente, Costa Mesa, Newport Beach, and Irvine. There's a lot of money that lines the streets of these SoCal beach towns, and Elizabeth Mulder knew exactly where to strike. Mulder convinced her clients to make their income tax checks payable to a company called IRS Tax Services. Of course, none of those payments made their way to the U.S. government. Instead, they went to fund the lifestyle of a conniving fraudster, out to target ladies trying to build their businesses. As a result of this fraud, many of the victims will be struggling for years to come. Jean Carissa is one of Mulder's victims. Mulder offered to help Carissa take out an insurance policy for her luxury travel agency, but sent the money for the policy directly to one of her fake businesses. Jean Carissa wrote 44 checks to Mulder between 2011 and 2016. Another victim, Lauren Scaccia, co-owner of the Tony and Guy hair salon in Newport Beach, lost $291,000 to Mulder. Scaccia attended Dana Hills High School with Mulder and ran into her at a wedding in Italy. After claiming to be a CPA, Mulder began stealing from Scaccia and ultimately forged 77 checks to defraud her old classmate. Scaccia is still trying to climb out of debt and doesn't see an end in sight. Lauren Almeida is a Pilates instructor who opened a studio in San Clemente, California. After meeting Mulder in an exercise class, Almeida and Mulder became fast friends. They took family vacations together and were extremely close. At one point, Lauren Almeida explains that she looked at Mulder as a sister. But after gaining Lauren Almeida's trust, Mulder ultimately stole $202,000 from Almeida using false identities. In the end, it was Mulder's own husband who outed her to clients and the authorities. After he discovered the fraud, he personally contacted the defrauded clients and the authorities. The FBI, IRS, and Laguna Beach Police Department teamed up to investigate Mulder and eventually bring charges against her. She pled guilty to wire fraud and defrauding the IRS of the misappropriated funds. Mulder was sentenced to 63 months in a federal prison and must pay $1,538,781 back to her victims at the IRS. It seems that she got off pretty easy, knowing that the maximum fine could have placed her behind bars for 23 years. It seems as though Mulder was defrauding her victims as far back as 2009. But only Mulder will really know the extent of her fraud, turned in by her own husband. That has gotta hurt. Maybe as much as the $1.5 million that she stole from innocent moms, friends, and entrepreneurs. Number 1. COVID pesticides. Paul Andricola is a chemist from New Jersey. He sold $2.7 million in fake COVID-fighting pesticides to government organizations throughout the COVID-19 pandemic. The United States Marshal Service fell for Andricola's false claims that his product had been approved by the EPA to kill COVID-19. Along with the U.S. Marshals, Andricola also managed to sell his fake COVID pesticides to Moody Air Force Base, the National Forest Service, a New York-based janitorial supply company, a Virginia fire department, a Georgia medical clinic, a Wisconsin school district, a Delaware police department, and the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs. Paul Andricola named his product G-Clean and sold his fraudulent materials from March 2020 until May 2021. As of June 2022, Andricola's case was the largest pandemic fraud conviction for illegal pesticides in the country. As a chemist, Paul Andricola was in a unique position to take advantage of various organizations and customers who looked to him as an expert in the field of disinfectant manufacturing. At the time, Paul Andricola was a research director for one manufacturing company and a co-founder of another manufacturing company. Andricola used another company's information to falsify documents that erroneously claimed this product, G-Clean, disinfected COVID-19. But it didn't. He used those fake documents to mislead his customers and convince them that the Environmental Protection Agency approved his product for public use. The U.S. Attorney's Office obtained emails from Mr. Andricola lying directly to his customers about the efficacy of his product. Paul Andricola was in a very unique position to manipulate the fear and concern spreading through the nation during the pandemic. He capitalized on the nation's fear to obtain millions of dollars and potentially endangered his customers who believed they were buying a protection that would disinfect against and kill COVID-19. Paul Andricola made around 150 sales to customers, one of which was worth over $1 million. Mr. Andricola pleaded guilty to numerous charges resulting from his fraudulent activity, including the illegal sale of an unregistered pesticide, wire fraud, and false claims against the United States government. These charges carry a range of maximum jail sentences between 1 and 20 years. Andricola will also pay $2.7 million in restitution for all the funds he swindled. Seems like the crime wasn't worth the time. The U.S. government is still currently pursuing COVID-19 scammers nationwide. COVID scammers were able to profit by stealing pandemic relief funds, selling fake vaccine cards, and manufacturing falsified test results, just to name a few. President Biden and the Justice Department named Kevin Chambers to lead the charge against COVID fraudsters. It is believed that scammers have stolen or attempted to steal up to $8 billion worth of government pandemic resources. That's a lot of COVID cheddar. While Andricola stands to serve many years in prison for his crimes, this scammer will be sentenced on October 11, 2022. Click to watch one of these next videos. Let us know in the comments section what you'd rather have at a restaurant. Tip on your own or have 18% more expensive prices on the menu, but don't have to tip at all.